What's up, everyone? Scout Army. Welcome to another edition of NBA Live at 5. This is Fuego Steve from Scout DFS, as you all know. And I am joined once again by Jaguar Lou and another Willie Walls Wednesday. What's going on, Willie? How you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. How about yourself? You doing all right? I know you're doing well with your one shot, one kill lineup that brought you about $8,000. That's a nice little price
Yeah,
point for a couple dollars. Great
yeah.
job.
That was a pretty good return on investment for sure, man. One shot, one kill for sure. Uh, Lou, how you doing today?
I'm hanging
Are
in
you
there.
all recovered from skiing? Are
Yeah,
you recovered?
I'm like 88% there. I'm just trying to get my new house in order, and I'm ready for this big slate. I like this $33 FanDuel queue, and there's also a lot of those satellites that I like to hit on DraftKings that are a cheap way to get into the qualifiers.
Yeah, it was so ironic last night with my win on FanDuel because I was so concentrating on the DraftKings qualifiers that I just did that one lineup. And I'm actually going to put up a lineup review quick video to deconstruct to show the people how I made the lineup. And it was funny. I think what was it, Brian? Maybe one of our listeners said to me on Twitter, it was the lineup I said at the end where I was like, oh, I kind of like this lineup. And I started, he said I named about 6 on there. He said, but he couldn't figure out the other 3. And I got lucky enough. And just to touch on that, not to dwell on my win or anything, but it's a good example of that contest selection that I talk about. I was in for $239. I was in $100 single entry, $50 single entry. I won those two. I won the $12 5 max and maybe the $65 3 max. So when you're doing even a 5 max, when you have one entry and there's only, say, there were 600 people in that one, compared to something where you're 150 max and 100,000 people, I mean, you can just do the math. The odds are greater. So if you can't afford $230 some dollars, play those small rebounds. I always talk about the small slam, all those small tournaments, and you know what, you can turn 20 into 700 and you'll be a happy camper. So it's just another thing, getting those single entries in and trying to get the least amount of entries possible. But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about this monster slate we got tonight. Willie, let me start with you. Are you going to roster Westbrook tonight?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely going to have me some Westbrook. There's a lot of value on the slate, and I mean Westbrook. That's the hammer game. I'm definitely going to have some Westbrook. And when we give lineups at the end, people will see how we can fit Westbrook in there and why it makes sense. But absolutely, he's one of my favorite players today.
All right. Lou, do you like Westbrook? And if not, do you like some of the high-end point guards like Chris Paul, Steph Curry, John Wall, Kyrie Irving, any of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love Westbrook. I don't think you absolutely need him. I am loving Steven Adams on the taller side of that team. But yeah, there's a couple ways you can go tonight on such a big slate. And I think that last minute news could affect the slate as well. So
What
I don't
about
think
Chris
you,
Paul with no Harden?
uh, Chris Paul's a distributor. I do like Chris Paul. It's just I don't usually go to him when he's not with his superstar. He's more of a distributor player. I don't see him taking 22, 24 shots a game and scoring a ton of points.
All right. Well, then talk to me about some point guards in this high to mid range that you do like.
All right, just one moment. I'm sorry. My computer. Go to Willie real quick. My
I'll go
computer's
to Willie.
doing
That's
the
fine.
old PBGB.
Willie, do you like Chris Paul? And if
Yeah,
not Paul, do you
and
like?
and I'm gonna tell you the reason why.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the reason why. Okay, and I got me some valid stats that's right here. Paul has 196 minutes without Harden. Okay, that he played. He has a usage rate of 30.8. His usage rate. His assist rate is 60.2%. And he has a DraftKings points per minute of 1.71 points per minute
Wow, those are some good
without
numbers.
Harden, compared to with Harden, where he has an 18% usage rate, a 31% assist rate, and a 1.05 fantasy per minute rate. So I'm absolutely interested in Chris Paul tonight, and I will have a nice little stack with Paul, with Gordon, and some other people that I'll talk about a little later.
All right. So I think I'm more on the Willie side. I like Chris Paul too. Any of these other high to mid range guys, Willie, Chris Dunn, Irving, Wall, Peyton, Lowry, Jamal Murray, who I don't mind at 7,300, and then Eric Bledsoe at 7,100.
Yeah, I have interest in Curry.
Mm-hmm.
I have interest in Steph Curry. You know, he kills these guys. Also, and they have trouble with point guards. I have interest in Irvin. You know, when I will, and I have LeBron James in a lot of lines, but I'll be pairing him up with Irvin a couple of times. Where I have Irvin going on the other side. Murray has a great matchup, but the thing about Murray is just this, and I want people to understand. I understand that the matchup looks juicy when you're talking about Phoenix, but Phoenix is on 3 or 4 games, and they going into the altitude where they're going up.
Mm.
Have not fared well, so this game could be a blowout. So please,
Okay. Interesting.
please be careful of this game, everybody. Don't go stacking this game up. Think this is going to be great fantasy goodness when this game could be one sided. And I'm just telling you, those jump shots that Booker hit the other night, they're a little bit different when you go on back to back and going up into the altitude. So just be careful.
That's a great call there. I like it. I like it.
Go ahead. Just a couple. I think Bledsoe is a little interesting. Don't forget about Dennis Smith. Enos is still starting, and then of course, Devontae Murray at 3,500. He's a play, and I'm gonna tell you something on DraftKings. Felton is very interesting because he is going to be soaking up some of those minutes, since they're going to be without Roberson. So Felton is soaking up some of those minutes. So just a couple of things to look at.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him. Lou, let me ask you about DeJounte Murray before I ask you about any other. Are you going to pay down for the what is probably going to be chalk on a 12-game slate? I'm not going to guess 100% just yet, but DeJounte Murray, 3,500 for the Spurs. No Parker, no Green, no Leonard. None of the teams playing.
Yeah, I do think this is one of the guys I'm going to want to pay for. I really hope that JJ Redick guards him. But yeah, DeJounte Murray's a cheap point guard. And on DraftKings, I believe he's a shooting guard and a point guard. And I do think you're going to want to pay for him tonight. Sorry, my computer was doing a little funky stuff before. But
we got you.
At the point guard position, the only person I did want to mention is Tyus Jones. I do like his matchup against Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm sure his price has risen quite a bit.
Yeah, it's up to 6.4 on FanDuel, but I don't mind that play.
Yeah, I don't mind that, and I also don't mind a little Darren Collison action. I have to check the DVPs against the shooting guard, but the point guard has done very well against Eric Bledsoe as of late. I'm not going to be going to Larry, but I will talk in the shooting guard position about DeMar DeRozan. So just so everyone knows, I do want to pay up for DeMar DeRozan tonight. So Lowry is someone that's not in my sights. Other than that,
how about Ricky Rubio?
Yeah, I don't mind Rubio. He just gets me somewhat nervous. He has the
PPP play
match.
only.
Yeah, he has a good matchup. I mean, Rajon Rondo, as we always say, never plays defense. But Ricky Rubio is the kind of guy that accumulates points on steals and assists and rebounds. And I think that there's better places to go. Jamal Murray is going up against Tyler Ulis, and Gary Harris is going to have to deal with Devin Booker. That kind of has me on Murray. Harris is going to have a hard time dealing with Booker, and Tyler Ulis is only 5'10". Jamal Murray, I believe, is a bit taller at 6'5".
Willie just mentioned be
So
careful of the blowout there. Willie mentioned.
yeah.
Willie, let me ask you about Rubio, TJ McConnell, or someone else I was looking at. Ish Smith at 6,200. Could you go there? Could you go to Ish Smith tonight, Willie?
I'm not gonna touch Ish Smith. There's no reason to touch Ish Smith when we got, people like, when we got the point guard for the Lakers. He's going to be getting another start. I don't need to go there, but I can go to Tyler Enos or something like that. I'm not going to touch him. And I don't get me wrong. I like Rubio, but I just think I like Mitchell so much more. And he lit them up earlier.
Okay.
The shooting guard. So I'm on Mitchell, so I won't be on Rubio. So Rubio's a no for me. I mean, even though it's a good play, I just gotta keep the core. Mitchell's going to be in most of my lineups.
Right, and that makes sense. So if you're going Mitchell, you're not going to go Rubio. I could get my behind more Rubio. I'm kind of giving you guys an overview of the position. These two guys, Willie and Lou, are giving you more of their core plays. And if you have any questions, hit us up in Slack chat. Any other point guards you guys want to touch on before we move on?
Nah, I think
good.
No, I'm good.
All right. I'm not seeing a lot of value at shooting guard today. I mean, you got the normal, usual suspects: Devin Harris, Brian Forbes on San Antonio Spurs, but I don't think I want to go there. There's not a lot of value I'm seeing at shooting guard. I'm looking in the mid to upper range is what I'm looking at. Willie, start me off. Are you going DeMar DeRozan, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Mitchell?
I'm not touching Rosen off of that big game. He'll have a lot of ownership. And his 2 previous games, he just had so-so games against them. So, DeRozan, I'm going to be off for DeRozan. I'll be off for Booker. The guys, like I said, the guys that I'll be putting in most of my lineups is going to be like a Donovan Mitchell. Then I'll be looking at a Gordon, possibly Fournier, and Wiggins has come up from the dead.
Yep.
And Dwayne Wade has a interesting matchup. So those are the guys that I'm going to be looking at. And one other guy is Forbes. Forbes from San Antonio. He'll be quite a few lineups. I like Forbes tonight.
You like Forbes on DK, right?
No, FanDuel too.
Oh, you do? All right. You think he'll get enough usage?
Yeah, he's 3,500. He's going to get like 20 something minutes. And all I'm looking for from him is just give me 20 points, 15 to 20 points. And he's 3,500. I'll take that for the nights because I'll have Mitchell on the other side, and that will be able to give me my LeBron James, guys that I want to get in my lineup.
Right. So are you going stars and scrubs?
Oh yeah, I'm going to have some stars and scrubs. I'm going to go. It'll be 2 games that I'm definitely going to stack. It's going to be the Boston. It's going to be the Boston Cleveland game, as well as I'll be stacking the Houston Orlando game.
Okay. Lou, talk to me about some upper end shooting guards or mid range. Any shooting guards you like? Like, do you like Eric Gordon like we do at 6,600 with no Harden, or are you going elsewhere?
I actually don't mind Eric Gordon. My first point I wanted to make was DeMar DeRozan. I don't really take into account like games that happened yesterday or like things that happened throughout the week. I like to look at today's matchup. So Kyle Lowry will definitely have to be a distributor today because Chris Dunn is just such a good defender. The Chicago Bulls are allowing over the last 73.1 fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. And they're playing very good against the point guard position. So I don't think Toronto is going to have a choice but to let DeMar DeRozan jack up a few more shots that he needs to, but he will keep them in the game. So I do like DeMar DeRozan tonight, pairing those DVPs, those good DVPs against the shooting guard position, and sorry, my cat's freaking out. Pairing those DVPs with the fact that they're also good against the point guard position. Other than that, I do think I will be probably rostering a few other people. I actually have no problem with Justin Holiday on the other side. um, what else do we like
I don't
here?
mind Holiday either. He's a good price.
Yeah. If Tyler Johnson's out, or even if because he's sick, so you can take a chance with Ellington for GPP purposes. That's a long shot, but if Ellington gets his run, he usually does very well. On Miami, I'm talking about. I don't like Clay because he has a tough matchup against Wes Matthews. But I do kind of like Wes Matthews a little bit against Clay. Lance Stevenson has been the chalk the past few days for most people, but I don't think I'm going there today. I think I'm more on Darren Collison. Other shooting guards I don't mind. I love Donovan Mitchell, like you said, Willie. He's a great play today. He's been playing very well as of late, and I'm not worried about Drew Holiday defending him. If you go Mitchell on one side, you can pair him with Rubio. Or you can just, throw Rajon Rondo in there. Either way, you're getting positive correlations between the players or a good game flow, hoping that it's fast paced. Other than that, Devin Booker has a good matchup against Gary Harris, which would have me on a lot on Devin Booker, but with Will Barton as a game time decision as well. Gary Harris becomes a play. He'll probably be relied upon to guard Devin Booker most of the game, 30, 35 plus minutes or something like that. I do like Caldwell Pope as well. We are in Los Angeles, so he's able to play. He's playing with Brook Lopez in the lineup and Lonzo Ball still out of the lineup. So if you get this Lakers game right, you can find some value. Personally, I like Kyle Kuzma going up against Carmelo Anthony, but Kentavious Caldwell-Pope should also see a bump in usage and shot attempts with him being the only other, not the only other guard, but the other main guard on that Lakers team.
All right. I just got an update. Embiid remains doubtful, so it's not really an update, but Embiid's doubtful. Willie, do you like JJ Redick at all for Philly?
He's a possible. I will be more like on the today. I'm not going to be dealing with a lot. The only ones that I will probably deal with in this game, like I said, is Forbes, possibly Aldridge. He has a great little matchup, but JJ Redick, I just think I could get some other value elsewhere.
Right. And I mentioned Holiday, who's only 200 more, Wiggins, who's only 400 more. And if you want to go down, you can go down there. Dwayne Wade had a good game last night. I play, if I would have kind of mixed and matched my qualifier tickets, I could have taken it down. I came in 6th of 68 and 16th. I think 6th and 16th, and I didn't have the correct combo.
Hey, you should have kept Chris in both of your lineups.
Yeah, I should have. For sure. Any other shooting guards, Willie, you want to touch on?
No, I think we did a good job. And think about this: you can use Smith in DraftKings. I think he's shooting guard eligible. So Dennis Smith is very interesting going against Golden State. He had a good game before, and I just think that Dennis Smith has found his juju again, and I think he's very interesting play.
Yeah, and he's is he still
5,500?
Is he still he's 55 on FanDuel as a point guard, which is still in play for sure there. This is a huge slate tonight, people. There is if we skip over guys, ask me in chat questions, don't assume that I hate them, just because we didn't mention them. Yesterday, if you read my write-up, 8 of the 9 guys were in my lineup. The only one I didn't mention was Batum in my write-up because I just can't write up everybody. I did mention Batum on the podcast, though. But we are trying to give you the people that we think are the best plays and who's going to be in our course. So we're trying to narrow this field somewhat. Small forward. Deeper than usual just because there's 12 games. We have all 3, James, the Freak, and Durant on the slate. Willie, are you going to roster any of those three?
It'll be James. I won't.
Okay.
I won't do the freak. The freak has been freaking out lineups. Really, I just think that with Bledsoe, with Bledsoe and with Bledsoe, I just think their increased depth and the usage of the other shooting guard. I mean, I just think that
Middleton, yeah.
They don't need him as much, and with Middleton too. So paying that price point for the freak is non-essential. And you got to remember, LeBron James now his usage is going to be up more because Isaiah Thomas won't be in this game. I might have felt different if Isaiah Thomas was playing, but with no Thomas, LeBron James is he's gonna be in a lot of lineups. And I think you got to remember he went for 67% before, 67 points before, and even though it's not the best matchup, but listen, LeBron is matchup proof. This game is going to be close, and him and Kyrie Irving, going to be going at it. And I just think that LeBron James, to me, is the premier small forward on this slate here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like him better than the freak and Kevin Durant. And don't get worried about LeBron and back-to-backs and usage. I don't take that into play in GPPs. And we're talking about LeBron. We're talking about the king here. He can play all day long. I'm not too worried about that.
And he played 34 minutes yesterday. So remember, he was taken out early. So
yeah. And you still almost needed him to win, which luckily I had him in the one. But Lou, are you paying up for LeBron, the freak, Durant, Jimmy Butler, any of those guys?
Jimmy Butler. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't like the other guys, but with lineup construction today, you have to pay down somewhere. And I think this is the place to pay down. Jimmy Butler has a nice matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. If you look at his last 5, 6, 7, 8, his last 8, 56, 36, 45, 45, 53, 38, 48, 50. He's just been a staple of consistency lately, and he has a great matchup against a team that doesn't have a single player that I think could guard him. So, oh my God, my food's here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I do think Jimmy Butler is a nice cheap option to get that elite status. I do like Paul George as well. I really don't mind those two mid-range elite guys because I do think Carmelo is going to have a hard time scoring tonight. Kyle Kuzma is a lot younger than him, and I think Kyle Kuzma is a good play on Melo, even to get him into foul trouble. So I do like Paul George, although most of my lineups probably will be including Steven Adams. So I got to decide how much OKC and or how much I want of this whole game. But yeah, I and just so everyone knows, the DVPs show vulnerability for the person. I'm sorry, show good fantasy stats for small forwards against the Cavs and the Utah Jazz. So for the Cavs, that's obviously the person guarding LeBron. Tonight, I would assume that would mainly be Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that gives Jaylen Brown a little bit of an uptick. And then on the Utah Jazz side of it, in terms of the two worst teams against the DVP, we have E'Twaun Moore. He becomes a less viable play, but certainly GPP. I won't say fade him. E'Twaun Moore has great games every once in a while, and especially with a team that might have trouble. I mean, Anthony Davis is going up against Thabo Sefolosha.
With more.
Yeah, he's a good, and he's always low owned, so he's not the worst player. I'm not saying to play him, but he does have the DVP advantages.
Right. Willie, let me ask you about some of these mid-range guys, the TJ Warrens of the world, Otto Porter, Brandon Ingram, Jonathan Simmons. I'm not really on Richardson tonight. Harrison Barnes, Lance Stevenson. We're going back to him. Robert Covington's down to 6,100. Any of these guys range you like, Willie?
And the people are like one of my favorite guys that I will be playing when I play LeBron. Will be playing Jalen Brown. He's always done well against LeBron in terms of him scoring. He has a thing where it's just like a personal challenge. I mean, listen. First of all, let me get this. Let me set the record straight. I don't care if the DVP show won. There ain't nobody can stop LeBron James. Period.
Right.
Let me tell you that right now. He's going to have a monster game, but I like Jalen Brown on the other side. I think Jalen Brown is going to be a lot of people that people overlook. He's at least scored 30 something points a game against him. He has a possibility of 40 with the pace of this game. So I think Jalen Brown is interested. Stevenson, he had a bad game, which I'm glad about, but I'm going to have him in a couple of lineups because what does the Bucks struggle? They struggle against wings. So Stevenson can have the monster game going against the Bucks this week. So I'll be looking at him. I'll be looking at Krabby because Krabby also, you got to remember they're losing LeVert. So that's going to give more time. Krabby's going to get more time. So I don't mind Krabby, in this matchup. And you remember Anderson, for
San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be getting time. So he's going to 4,900. So he's definitely going to get a bump in usage. And listen, Theft Philosopher is one of my little favorite guys at 3,900 on DraftKings. He's they're playing him now. He want to be on the court. Well, it's Anthony Davis. He gives you those little stacks, those little stacks there. If you look at him, he's been very sneaky lately. And listen, one of my little favorite guys off the bench is going to be Green that I'm going to use in the stack in a Houston game.
Gerald Green, right? I was going to ask you about him. I heard a lot of talk about him with Harden being out now.
Right. He's the first guy that comes off that bench, and we know that Green can light it up when he goes. If this will be the perfect pace, the perfect game. So I will be having Green in some FanDuel lineups because he makes a lot of sense. Then you got to remember you got Harris. For if you're going to look for value, you got Harris for
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Remember they missing LeVert, so Harris might get a little time. You got Brewer that's been getting a little time. So if you need a little punt play, and then $3,000 you got Eustace because remember Roberson is out tonight. So Eustace, even though he doesn't have lots, he might get a 15 or 20-point game. So I'm just giving you some different options that's available there.
Great. Those all sound good to me. Lou, let me ask you with LeVert out also, does it bump DeMarre Carroll up at all?
Yeah, slightly.
You like Crab or Carroll better at the same price?
Let me look at their game logs real quick. I would say Crab is definitely more of a lower owned play. His recent games have been okay. He had 37 points against Orlando in 28 minutes. And in terms of Carroll, similar pricing. I think he'll be higher owned and he has less of a ceiling. So I guess I would go Crab in this specific question.
Can I go back to Wilson Chandler against Phoenix?
No, but something I was going to say is, if Joel Embiid is out, you have usage going all over the place, and one of those players is going to have to worry about LaMarcus Aldridge. So I don't know who they have. Let me see really quick. I don't know who they have confirmed guarding LaMarcus Aldridge, but that Philadelphia team is going to need points. And if Saric is guarding Aldridge, then they're going to have to look elsewhere. So they have Saric and Aldridge on each other. I don't like that for Saric. So Robert Covington is going up against Forbes. I think he's a very viable small forward play at a reasonable price.
Right. Yeah, I like Covington for sure. Only 6'1". Brandon Ingram against OKC's okay play. I like Porter's upside against New York at 6'9" in the mid-range there. I could get behind Stevenson. Courtney Lee against Porter. Washington's not horrible. Any other guys you want to touch on, Lou, before we move to power forward?
No.
Just be careful. Be careful with Ingram because Ingram, his shooting percentage is way down by 6 points without ball. He correlates a lot better when Ball is playing. When Ball is not playing, Ingram, his shooting percentage takes a hit.
Yeah, and also, Fuego, really quick, you are very right there, Willie. And one other thing you said at the end, not to make this hits on Fuego, but Porter's going up against Lance Thomas. He's a very good defender, so you got to watch out there. Otto Porter might not be the guy that takes advantage of sometimes this weak Knicks defense. I could see it being more of a Bradley Beal night or Gortat night, not Otto Porter.
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. I think I might go LeBron and pay down, so I might skip over that range. But yeah, it's tough. Like I think I do prefer, like say, James and Brown versus each other, James and Carroll, something like that, than two mid-range guys. Sometimes you have to make that decision. And this is a huge slate though, so I don't think there's one way to attack it. Moving over to power forward, we got Anthony Davis, the big dog, 10-9, Porzingis 9-2, Ben Simmons 8-6, and then starts to drop to the 8,000s. Aldridge, Aaron Gordon in a good spot against Houston. Lou, who are some power forwards you like?
Power forwards. This is an interesting position. So the DVPs show Indiana being a good team to target, as well as the Nuggets and the Suns. But I don't think I'm going to go by that today. I think I like a little bit of Taj Gibson today. I have no problem with that Indiana stat I just read about the DVPs would benefit Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think. So maybe I believe a little bit more in paying up there. I do love Kuzma today. I'm going to try to include Kuzma in a lot of my lineups. I think he's going to really demolish Carmelo Anthony. Other than that,
can you go back to my boy Marquise Chris against Denver?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you made my lineup yesterday with that. I had Marquise Chris in my lineup because of you. Yeah, I think you can. Maybe, with Booker back, it affects everybody. It really does. Like, it makes the entire offense pretty cool. So I like Steven Adams on the center end, and then you can go Kyle Kuzma. I wouldn't be confident in Chris, but I have no problem with it. Other than that, I don't think I'd go back to Serge or go to Serge, or maybe I would. Serge could be a nice play against Lauri Markkanen. Considering Kyle Lowry, I don't think will be shooting much. And Chicago doesn't rebound specifically well, or particularly well. And other than that, your value at the bottom end is really just like if you want to punt down below with like Anthony Tolliver. I don't know. I don't even see that viable. I guess that's it. Yeah, I wouldn't go Saric against Aldridge. Like normally, I would love to take Saric against in a game where Embiid probably isn't playing, but I think that Aldridge matchup is going to be tough.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Willie, talk to me about some power forward you like tonight.
Okay, I'm not going to be on Kuzma tonight. I don't, I'm a Kuzma guy, but I don't think he's healthy. He hasn't looked good the past games, and I don't think that quad is healed yet. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm gonna make a pass on Kuzma tonight. But let me tell you some guys I do like. Aldridge, I do like. My favorite forward of the night is going to be Gordon.
Right.
I mean that's just a perfect matchup for Gordon. Having him going against Chris Paul is going to be great. I think Beasley is very interesting for the Knicks. Especially on DraftKings, he's 4,800. Have you noticed they've been phasing out? They've been phasing out Cantor and they're putting Beasley in there.
Right, right.
Beasley has been taking those minutes. I think Bell is very interesting. Remember, Caspi's out, and Bell it doesn't need a lot to score a lot of points. And remember, what are Dallas Mavericks weak against bigs? So I think Bell is kind of interesting tonight that a lot of people are going to be skipping over tonight. Of course, Marquise Chris, has a listen. The guy is now in shape. That's why they're giving him all the time that they're giving him now. That's what the coach said, and it shows in his play. It shows in his play, but just keep in mind too, they're going up in that altitude. So just keep that in mind. And I think a guy like Crowder tonight, I love tonight. I'm going to have Crowder in a lot of my lineups. I think he's going against Boston, the place where they let him go at 3,900 and 4,300. I think it's a great price, and he's been playing well. And I think he who knows Boston better than Crowder. And I think at 3,900 going against a team that traded you, oh yeah, I think he got a little axe to grind. I think my little punt play is going to be Grant for Oklahoma at 3,500. I'm going to have him in quite a few lineups there. The reason being is, Grant can score. They have no, they are now missing, that small forward that's going to be out. And Grant, even he scored 12 or 13 points and was 1 of 6. But Grant could score. So you got to remember, Grant can also get you 25 or 35 points. He's
How about
the upside. And he going.
Could you go Amir Johnson?
Yeah, Amir Johnson. But you know what though? Amir Johnson is just like to me. I mean, he's okay.
Yeah.
But I'd rather take my chance going against the Lakers, who have trouble, at that position. I'd rather in a faster paced game. I'd rather take my chance with a Grant, which this game fits his mold of the type of person he is. And don't forget about Derek Favors going against New Orleans has been giving it up. That's why I love that Falocia. That's why I love Mitchell, and that's why I think Favors is a very interesting play. He had 40-something points against the first game. You got to remember, they got to be big going against them. Going against Boogie, and then and remember, Favors has a lot of agility. So Favors, at 42 points for his price point, I think he's a pretty good play today.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty deep position. Lou mentioned Taj Gibson and Kuzma, and we got Ibaka. Jason Tatum, who I don't mind going against Cleveland. Mentioned Chris down at the lower end and the higher end. Aaron Gordon, Aldridge, Ben Simmons. Price is 8.6. He had a big game the other day. I with the guys resting, no Leonard, I could see going to Ben Simmons. You guys had a good point about Sark, but he's been playing well. Tobias Harris against Miami. I'm the Tobias Harris whisperer. I'm going to say it's 75% chance he does have a good game tonight versus Miami. I like his matchup there. So there's a lot of places you can go at power forward. Lou, anyone else you want to touch on before we move over to center? Ronnie Hollis Jefferson, can you play him?
No, I just someone I forgot that Willie mentioned. I do like Aaron Gordon tonight. I think he's in a nice spot, and I will be trying to include him in my lineup. Even though I hate paying $8,000 for him, Ryan Anderson is not the kind of guy that slows down a guy like Ryan Anderson that is getting to be completely healthy for the first time basically all year, and he's going to want to start putting up points. He put up 39 actual points on the 30th of December. So expect big stealings from Aaron Gordon over the next month or so.
Yeah, I like. I don't mind the price for the ceiling at 8,000. He's got the similar ceiling to Porzingis at 1,000 more, in my opinion. So I like it. I like Gordon quite a bit again. To the center spot. Looks pretty deep. Especially on FanDuel where you only got one. I could see lots of places. I don't know if I'm paying up for Boogie tonight. I don't know. Drummond's price is up to 10,000. That annoys me. I wish it was still lower. The Joker going against Phoenix, a good matchup. Karl Anthony Towns, he's the one that I seem to, if I was going to pay up, I think he would be the one I'd pay up for 9-8 versus Brooklyn. But I'm liking some of the mid-range guys. Clint Capella, 7-7. Horford, Miles Turner. You mentioned Steven Adams. I like Biyombo at 6-7 going against Capella on the other side. Willie, talk to me about some centers tonight.
Well, I mean, listen. Boogie and what's the name was so when they play him. I'm just not going to pay up for him today, so I won't have them in my lineups. Towns is interesting. Understand this. Whiteside has a little upside. I will only play him if I play him in a lineup. He'll only be on DraftKings. Where he's 6,600, he had 40-something points. He eats up Drummond on a regular. You got to remember that he eats him up. Remember this about Clint Capella. It's very interesting. When he plays with Chris Paul, he averages 1.45 points per minute.
Nice.
He averages score. So Capella will be a very interesting guy that he could get skipped over in a lineup. So don't be surprised if you see a guy go for 45 points. That's the reason, because he has that type of upside. I think another guy you need to look at that I'll be looking at is Biombo at 5,600, especially on DraftKings. Man, it's a great price for Biombo, and I think this is a perfect type of matchup for him. And even if you played him on FanDuel, it will be a good return because remember with the blocks he get, and he's a mobile type of guy. I think this fits down his alley. With Biombo, Steven Adams, I agree with Lewis. Great matchup. He averaged 45 points a game against the Lakers, over the past year. So he eats them up for lunch. So Steven Adams is also be a great correlation play with Westbrook if you want to do that. Another guy that I'm looking at, this is going to be a guy. Remember, don't forget about Greg Monroe. All right. Greg Monroe should play today. All right. So if he plays, he's definitely a good play going against them. He got fresh legs. And one of my favorite centers who will be in most of my lineups will be my favorite center other night will be Valanciunas. He averages 42 points a game against Robin Lopez. He averaged 42 points a game. Remember, they're two bigs. He does well. He's $5,000, 4,900 of DraftKings. He will be the guy that will be in most of my lineups, but he will probably be my center of choice for the night. He's my favorite, with Valanciunas. And so that means when I compare for Valanciunas, that means I could get my Pauls, I get my Westbrooks, I get my James, I could get my Gordons. You follow what I'm saying? So I think that price point, that's the kind of construction that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm liking that Capella range, Biombo Adams range. Lou, are you paying up for center today, or are you paying down?
Yeah, I think my favorite plays are definitely Valanciunas, Capella, and beside those, I think my sneakiest pay was probably just Paul Gasol. Paul Gasol is a staple of consistency up until the last two. Tonight he sees a Philly team that's always bad against the center position.
So glad I pivoted off him last night. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, the guy said I mentioned him when I did the lineup at the end, but then after talking to some guys in chat and they were talking about blah blah blah, I was like, you know what, I have enough money. I'm going Nurkic. So, but anyway, go ahead.
No, but it stinks because he does. He was playing very well, and then out of nowhere he kind of just slowed down. It's only been 2 games that he hasn't played well, but if you think he gets back to that production, then you go back to him. He was playing unreal. If you don't have the money to play Aldridge, you're hoping Aldridge doesn't go off today. So Paul Gasol's in a nice spot against Amir Johnson.
While you're on the top of the Spurs, let me interrupt you for a second. They just confirmed their lineup. It is DeJounte Murray, Forbes, Anderson, Aldridge, and Gasol. So, if you like Forbes for value, he's starting. You like Murray for value, he's starting. You like Aldridge for upside, he's there. You like Anderson for value, and Gasol, that's your starting lineup. And they're going to have to play some minutes tonight with all these guys resting.
See, I like Forbes better on FanDuel. That's the reason why I like it better on FanDuel. See, DraftKings, they already knew about that. They priced him at 4,100.
Oh, okay.
On DraftKings, and so did Murray. So DraftKings knew about that, so they bumped those guys' prices up 4,100 and 4,700 accordingly, compared to FanDuel, which is 3,500 for both minimum price.
Yeah, you notice they I've got a couple people who've complained that the FanDuel raised the minimum price from 3,000 to 3,500. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. I still think you can make if you're playing $3,500 guys, you're going to get the lineup you want. So I still think it's fine. It doesn't bother me as much as it sounds like a few others. So you said you like Capella, Lou. Do you also like Biombo on the other side, like me and Willie?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside centers tonight. If I can afford Andre Drummond, I think that's a great matchup. Some might say Hassan Whiteside is very good and he's back, but in fact, he led the BVPs last year when he was healthy. So he does do a lot of things on the offensive end, but he allows a lot of offensive putbacks, and Andre Drummond is the king of that. So if I have the 10,000, I think he's a very safe play. And yeah, like I love Capella. I do like Biombo, but I'll probably pay for Steven Adams if I'm going. If I have to choose between Biombo and Steven Adams, they're at the same price. Paul Gasol's in a good spot, and I would not go to Enes Kanter. I would go to Porzingis if you wanted to get exposure to that Knick game. Yeah, Enes Kanter has a much tougher matchup than Porzingis does. going up against either Markieff Morris or whoever they put on him, Kelly Oubre. Enes Kanter will be going up against Gortat. He's a very talented defender. So I am a little worried about that. I'm staying away from Enes Kanter today.
Hey, on DraftKings, the price is different. Biombo is 5,600, while Adams is 63. On FanDuel, they got the same price. It's 68 and 67.
Yeah, that's a good price for Biombo there on DK for sure. So big night. Let's talk about your core, Willie. Let's talk about some lineups. What kind of core you going with?
Let me. I'll give you a couple of stacks that I have, and I'll tell you about. Hold on for a minute. Let me go to FanDuel first. Boom, boom, boom. All right, hold on.
Oh, let me. Would you guys go back to Rashawn Holmes, by the way, at center?
No, that would only be a fade. That would only be a hedge. If I had one lineup on Amir Johnson, I would probably do one hedge with Holmes.
Gotcha. What happened, man? I mean, he had some huge games last year. You know, I know he's obviously not getting playing time, but, you know, he's had some okay games this year, 33, 32, 33. So he's interesting for 4,100 if you're trying to get different roster construction. You're going LeBron and Durant and Westbrook, or you're trying to get LeBron and Westbrook in. I could see going home. So you have my blessing if you choose to do that. Don't at me if he gets 17 points. All right, Willie.
Is that what we're doing here? Are we giving our blessings?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That is what we do every day, isn't it? I mean, you say, what do you think? It is basically our blessings or no, and me and Lou are very honest, especially in chat. We tell people straight up no or yes.
All right. I didn't know I've ever blessed something.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll stick in church though. All right, hit me, Willie.
Let me give you I'll give you another stack, then I'll give you another. I'm gonna give you 3 FanDuel lineups. So I got one where this is the stack where I told you the Boston Celtics Cleveland stack. Okay, so it's Irvin. I got Irvin and Carey at the point guards. I got Forbes. You know, minimum price at the shooting guard. I got Mitchell at the other shooting guard. I got James at the small forward. I got Jaylen Brown at the other small forward. I got Crowder at the power forward. I got Grant at the other power forward, you know, for Oklahoma City for the late night hammer. And I got Valanciunas at the center. All right, let me go to a stack where I got where I have Gordon and those guys. Now, let me give you this. This was definitely because a lot of people don't want to play Biombo on DraftKings or FanDuel, but this is just showing you what you can do. Because remember, he had 40-something points the last game. If he gets 40-something points this game, he's going to be a great value of 6,700. So this is a lineup with that has the stack with Paul. So I got Chris Paul at the point guard. Okay, I got Westbrook at the other point guard. Okay, I got Mitchell at the shooting guard. All right. I got Forbes at the other shooting guard. I got Eustace. Remember I said I was going to go minimum price at the small forward. I got Green at the other small forward. You know, Green coming off the bench. I got Crowder at the power forward. I got Gordon at the other power forward, and I got Biombo at the center. All right. And let me just give you a straight stars and scrub lineup. Hold on for a minute. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Is this the one that I consider stars and scrubs? Hold on.
No problem.
Let me see. That's
I'm going to ask for your core in a second, Lou. So I know you got it.
Okay. So here goes stars and scrub type of lineup that we were talking about before. You know, you got Westbrook at your point guard. You got Murray at your other point guard at the minimum price. You got Mitchell at the shooting guard. You got Wiggins at the other shooting guard. You know, I like Wiggins. You got James at the small forward. Jaylen Brown at the small forward. You got Grant at the power forward. You got Chris at the other power forward, and you got Valanciunas at the center. So that's some of the things. And after he gives his core, I'll go to a couple of DraftKings lineups, and then I'll be done.
Sounds good.
Not
Sounds good. We love hearing how the mind of Willie Walls works and how he does this roster construction. You don't have to necessarily agree with the plays, but it's just how he's doing the construction. And I'm certainly he wouldn't mind if you took a core of that and mixed in your own for sure. And he would always split $500,000 with you, of course. Go ahead. Talk to me about your core tonight, Will. I mean, Lou. Will.
Yeah. So in the first 7 o'clock game, Houston Orlando, I'm definitely gonna lock in Aaron Gordon, I think, as well as Eric Gordon. I do think Eric Gordon has a nice matchup today. I hope Evan Fournier guards him. In the end, maybe I'll try to figure out how to fit Chris Paul, but for now, it's just Eric Gordon and Aaron Gordon. I do like Steven Adams against the Lakers, but that might change depending on other centers I like more. As of right now, I have Covington in my lineup that I like with Kyle Anderson playing up against him, not Kawhi Leonard, and the fact that Saric is going up against Aldridge, which will be tough, and Embiid might not be playing. And I also have Tyler Ennis in right now. We spoke very little about him. Tyler Ennis played 22 minutes and 45 minutes over his last two on the 31st and the 1st. He's projected to be the starting point guard for the Lakers, I believe, tonight. He had 44 fantasy points on New Year's Eve against Houston.
Yeah, and I said he was a trap the next game. I said he wasn't going to get more than 20 points. He ended up with 26, so he actually wasn't horrible at his prime.
And he even did that in 22 minutes against a better Tyus Jones. So, not Jeff Teague. So I do like him for his price at 41. I don't love it in general, but I am trying to fit DeMar DeRozan in there. So as of now, my lineup / core is looking like DeJounte Murray, Tyler Ennis, DeMar DeRozan, Eric Gordon, Jimmy Butler, Robert Covington, and then I'm just looking at Aaron Gordon and Steven Adams and that last power forward spot I got to figure out what to do with.
Right. Some of my core plays starting backwards at center are the Capella play. I really like at center. I could get behind Biyombo at center. I think if you can pay up for Karl Anthony Towns, he's in a good spot to get you a ceiling game tonight. I'm okay with Steven Adams. Power forward, go back to my guy Chris. Aaron Gordon, I really like at the high end. I'm always a sucker for Taj Gibson. Derek Favors, I don't mind. Ibaka. Kyle Anderson, good play at small forward. LeBron, definitely play. Covington in play. Lance Stevenson in play for sure. Shooting guard, Eric Gordon, I like. Wiggins, I like. Donovan Mitchell, good. Chris Middleton, good. I'm fading Durant and the Freak back, by the way. And Chris Paul, I really like at I think you can get Paul in at point guard to get him in there. I like Rubio playing down, Bledsoe in the middle. And I'm leaning DeJounte Murray chalk. I'm going to say, 25% on this slate, even at 12 games? It's going to be 25% owned? What do you guys think? Willie?
Yeah, you talking about Murray? Yeah,
DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, to be honest with you, since the slate is so huge, I don't think Devontae Murray is going to be 25% on. You got so many good players.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be so chalky. Also, taking into account Popovich, he's the Bill Belichick of basketball or whatever.
Right.
I never really trust him. If you think it's
one fumble by Murray and he's out of the game, right?
I know, seriously, and then it's a Mills night. So
right.
So you got to be careful there. I don't think he's going to be as chalky as you think, but he is in a good matchup if he gets the time against Philadelphia. And I hope he doesn't see Ben Simmons because, he's not Ben Simmons isn't the best defender, but I'd rather him not see Ben Simmons. I'd rather him see Redick, but if I can confirm all that, I have no problem playing him.
All right, everyone. Well, that's gonna do it for today's edition of NBA.
Hey, whoa! Hey, let me just give a couple.
You want to do some DK lineups? Yeah, hit us. I totally forgot.
Yeah. All right. So this is a full-out stack that I have for DraftKings, where I got Chris Paul at the point, Eric Gordon at the shooting guard. Aaron Gordon at the small forward, Biombo at the power forward. The center is Capella. Then you go with Tyler Enos for the late night hammer, David West, and then that I can't mention. It's a guy from Dallas that we like, so I won't mention his name.
Yeah.
Then if you look at if you look at the stack, and then I'll just give you a regular stack. Then if you look at the stack from the game with the Cavaliers, you got Irvin at the point guard, James at the small forward, Crowder at the power forward, Valanciunas at the center, Jamal Murray at the other guard. You got Marquise Chris at the 4 position. Then remember that guy we talked about from New York, who I told you is getting more playing time. Then I did a stars and scrub lineup where this has some stars and scrub in it, but it had in this lineup right here, it had Westbrook at the point guard, Curry at the shooting guard, because a lot of people will be on Paul, James at the small forward, Thon Maker at the power forward, Valanciunas at the center, Brewer at your guard. You got Eustace, that's minimum price, and the guy that I told you that he's going for revenge for Boston. No, so this is just stuff that we do in stars and scrubs, just showing you just usage. Listen, don't the lineup don't do the. Listen, that's on you.
Perfect.
Just giving you some options and choices. That's all.
Of course, and like we said, if you do and you use it and someone else uses it and you split $500,000, then that's okay. But don't add us what is wrong. We're trying to give you examples, and we're certainly not lineup sellers, but we do try to help you narrow your core, like we're doing. We're narrowing our core. Man, I wish we were right 100% of the time, man. We'd all be millionaires, but we're not right 100% of the time. We're doing our best to give you our best plays, our best core guys that we like. And that's why we give you some examples of lineups, and no one's ever going to agree. I get you could tell somebody 100% and they might have a different opinion about certain players. So but yeah, this is a big slate. If you're not comfortable on it, just go light. You can get your action, or do what I like to do: play those mini slates. They got the Express 2, the Express 47, whatever. Just play some of those Express slates, mini slates, after hour slates, things like that, or go light on the main slate.
Hey, Fuego, you made a great point, because the one thing I've noticed is one of Lewis's favorite guys, no matter what, he will live and die for is DeRozan. DeRozan is his guy, just like James is my guy.
Listen, I'm never on any one guy. I go to the matchups. If the matchup dictates it, then I'll go back to it. Trust the process.
You know it. I'm telling you, man, that's your man more than you know. I'm telling you. I'm sitting here.
Listen. I do have to say something real quick. DeMar DeRozan has new shoes coming out. Here at Scout DFS, we support DeMar DeRozan. So go out there and buy the new DeRozans. Okay, and that's a little promo right there.
That's great. And we're going to end it on that note, on a little laughter for you. Thank you all for joining us today at Scout DFS. Thanks, Willie Walls, for joining us. Jaguar Lou, I'm Fuego Steve. Get that money. Peace.